Marie Osmond is not only a legend of American television who has left an unforgettable mark on generations of viewers. She is a voice stitched deeply into the living rooms of America, a warm and radiant smile from the golden age of family entertainment, and a country girl whose paper roses made millions believe that innocence could still survive and thrive under the bright and demanding lights of show business and public life. At 66, the beloved star of the iconic Donnie and Marie show still stands with remarkable grace and poise that comes only from a lifetime of experiences both joyful and challenging. But behind that graceful exterior lives a childhood that was swallowed too early by endless rehearsals, strict discipline, and the heavy family name she was asked to carry long before she could fully understand its true cost and lifelong impact on her young heart. Fame made her a national treasure cherished by families across the country for many decades. Yet no spotlight, no matter how bright or constant, could protect her from the deep silence that came when she lost her beloved son, nor from the passing years that slowly carried other beloved voices from her life, leaving lasting voids that only she could truly feel. Now, when the world believes that peace has finally found Marie after so many public and private trials, one quiet question still trembles gently behind the familiar smile that has comforted millions. America trusted her for decades as a symbol of warmth and family values. How much pain can a woman carry in her heart and still keep singing with the same sincerity and emotional depth that touched so many lives? Before we begin this heartfelt tribute in her honor, please take a moment to honor Marie Osmond with a like and show your appreciation. This is a sincere tribute to the woman who turned heartbreak into light, endurance into strength, and personal trials into a lasting legend that continues to inspire people even today. At 3 years old, Marie Osmond was already learning a difficult lesson that no child should ever have to learn at such a tender and innocent age in life. How to perform professionally before she had truly learned how to simply be a normal, playful child free from the demands of the stage and public eye. While other little girls of her age held teddy bears close, chased butterflies in the sunshine, and came home with grass stains on their dresses from carefree outdoor play, Marie stood beneath hot and intense studio lights with a microphone held carefully in her tiny hands. Around her were cameras rolling constantly, music filling the air, adults discussing details, loud applause from the audience, and high expectations that surrounded her every moment. Yet, the one thing she could not easily find during those formative early years was the simple freedom to be ordinary and enjoy the innocence of a regular childhood without constant scrutiny. Born in 1959 as the only daughter in the prominent Osmond family, she carried a name that was quickly becoming a beloved symbol across America and brought both pride and pressure from the very beginning. Her days were shaped meticulously by long rehearsals, beautiful harmonies, strong faith, firm discipline, and the constant pressure to represent something much larger than herself in every public appearance and performance. The world saw only a gifted and talented little girl shining brightly. Behind the scenes was a child slowly learning that approval and love often came only after successful performance and that maintaining a smile could sometimes feel like part of the required job. Her first major appearance on The Andy Williams Show in 1962 opened wide the door to a life that would be watched closely by millions of people around the country. For Marie, the stage and all its demands arrived long before her childhood had time to breathe freely and develop in a natural and unhurried way. She would later describe those early years with a deep sadness that suggested she often felt shaped heavily by expectations and responsibilities before she had the chance to simply be a carefree child without the weight of the world constantly watching her every move. Even her public smile seemed to carry a strange and quiet loneliness that was visible to many yet often remained unseen in the places where a child most needs understanding and comfort. Picture the small and quiet dressing room after the music had ended and the curtains had closed for the day. A child's shoes placed neatly under a chair, powder still lingering on her cheeks from the performance, adults talking busily about timing and camera angles while young Marie sat quietly by herself, old enough to perform like a professional but still young enough to want someone to gently ask whether she was tired after such demanding hours. Then came a painful memory that made the true cost of that childhood difficult to forget even many years afterward. At 11 years old, during an important work trip overseas, Marie experienced a frightening incident that left her feeling exhausted, shaken, and deeply affected by what had happened. What stayed with her long after was not only the fear from that frightening incident itself, but also the lasting lesson that the busy schedule had to continue without delay even when a child desperately needed comfort and emotional support. A child should have been taken somewhere quiet and safe to recover properly. A child should have been wrapped lovingly in kindness and care, allowed to rest fully, allowed to breathe easily again, and allowed to feel safe and protected once more after the ordeal. Yet, the work still waited impatiently without any pause for her well-being. The camera still waited for her return. The music still had to be recorded according to the tight timeline. Years later, that memory seemed to carry an even deeper sadness about the sacrifices demanded. A little girl learning early that even fear and distress could be hidden carefully behind a professional smile when the world expected her to keep performing no matter what she was feeling inside. As Marie entered her teenage years full of changes and growth, the spotlight became even brighter and more intense while the pressure became more personal and difficult to handle in many ways. As a teenager, she became one of the most recognizable and admired young stars in America through the hugely popular Donnie and Marie show that brought joy to countless families. Millions of fans admired her natural charm, her beauty, and the polished sweetness in her performances that made her feel like a cherished part of the American family for so many viewers watching at home. Yet, behind the colorful and vibrant costumes, cheerful duets with her brother, and flawless camera smiles was a teenager quietly struggling to believe she was truly enough just as she was amid all the expectations. She was told repeatedly to lose weight or risk disappointing the powerful people who controlled her career opportunities and future. Even when she was already very thin and working hard, she was made to feel that her body was something that constantly needed correction and improvement under the critical eyes of the industry. In 2019, Marie spoke with raw and painful honesty about early wounds from her childhood that she had carried quietly and privately for many long years deep within her heart. She described the confusion of being very young and feeling different in ways she could not yet name or fully understand without the right words or support. Through every difficult chapter and challenge in her remarkable life, Marie kept walking back toward the stage with courage and resilience. She kept singing through the pain and emotions. She kept choosing life, faith, family, and healing even during the hardest times. The child whose voice carried such sweetness and light while her heart carried many questions that no one sitting in the audience could hear or fully understand. In the late 1970s, when America saw Marie Osmond as a radiant and shining young star full of energy and promise, a few famous names briefly passed through her public memory and connections, including Michael McDonald, Andy Gibb, and David Cassidy. In 1982, Marie married Steve Craig with hope in her heart, hoping that love might finally give her the quiet and stable home she had been chasing since her earliest childhood days. Only 3 years later, the marriage ended and the dream of that quiet home cracked painfully in front of a public audience that had only ever seen her bright smile on screen. In 1986, she married Brian Blosel and together they built a large blended family of 8 children. By 2007, after 21 years of marriage filled with many shared experiences, she and Brian divorced after facing numerous personal challenges. Behind all the applause and the positive public image, Marie Osmond was quietly carrying a private struggle that the world could not see or fully comprehend from the outside. By 1999, after giving birth to her 7th child, Matthew, Marie was carrying a deep private exhaustion that the polished and perfect image America remembered could no longer hide or explain away easily. The most painful and difficult moment came when Marie reached a dark place she had never imagined she would experience in her life as a mother. One day, feeling completely overwhelmed by the heavy weight inside her own mind and emotions, she left her children safely with a trusted babysitter and drove away alone on the road seeking some sense of clarity and relief. In August 2006, painful and untrue rumors spread widely about a private medical crisis that affected her deeply and publicly. In 2007, while competing bravely on Dancing with the Stars, Marie became unsteady and collapsed moments after delivering an energetic samba performance under the bright live television lights. No mother is ever truly ready for the profound silence left behind by the loss of a child, no matter the circumstances or age. For Marie Osmond, that heartbreaking silence arrived suddenly in 2010 when she lost her beloved son Michael at only 18 years old in a tragic and devastating event that changed her world forever. After the loss of Michael, sorrow stayed close to Marie Osmond and became an ongoing part of her daily emotional reality. In 2004, Marie lost her beloved mother, Olive Osmond, who had been a guiding spiritual anchor in her life. Only 3 years later, in 2007, her father, George Osmond, passed away too, leaving yet another painful void in the family. In 2018, the larger Osmond family faced the unexpected and sad loss of Marie's nephew, Troy, at a young age. Then in 2022, another branch of the extended family was struck by additional tragedy. In early 2025, her brother Wayne Osmond passed away after a stroke. In April 2026, her brother Alan Ralph Osmond also passed away after years of health struggles. Quietly at the age of 66, Marie Osmond no longer needs the constant spotlight to prove that she is still shining brightly in her own meaningful way after everything she has been through. In her later life, one of Marie Osmond's most discussed and thoughtful decisions was about legacy and what truly matters in passing things on. After decades of hard work, sacrifice, and tremendous success, Marie has said she does not plan to pass her wealth directly to her children in order to encourage their own growth. Marie Osmond's greatest song may not be the one America first heard on the radio many years ago during the height of her fame. It may instead be the resilient life she kept singing and living after heartache changed the key completely and dramatically. A life filled with deep faith, devoted motherhood, cherished memory, and enduring grace that would not go silent despite all the storms she faced. If Marie's voice once filled your home with joy, or if her inspiring story reminds you of someone you have loved and lost along the way, please leave a few kind words below in her honor. Sometimes one simple tribute from the heart is enough to keep a beautiful memory alive for years and years to come.